Reach, receive, disciple, and send. This is the mission of Christ Church United Methodist, and we are going to be continuing our Growing as Community series this morning with a very important question to lead us in our devotion. But before I get to that question, I wanted to look at where we've been. First, we looked at why the first communities were formed in the loneliness of Adam. We've looked at how communities of God were formed around the people of Israel at Mount Sinai coming together with a centering belief. And we looked at how that the communities can strengthen us in times of great difficulty and great trial during the stories of Isaiah and the exile and return of the people of Israel, the people of God, home to a new normal. But now the question I wanted to lift up is, if community is so good, and if community is of God, why is it so hard? Because I'm not the only one that struggled. I know you all have struggled at times to do in your friendships, in relationships, in your work colleagues, and also even probably with churches at times. Community is difficult. And I wanted to look at why that was. And I'm looking at it. Communities are difficult because of us, because we're each human. And because each and every one of us has our own expectations. And when they're not met or they're not going the way we think they should, we have a propensity to stop, to take a break. So behind me is a fence. I watched this fence being built. It was built just last week. And what happened during this process is 4 men came and worked and put that together. But anytime any one of them needed a bathroom break or to step away or to have lunch or a phone call, everything came to a halt. It could not continue. We needed everyone on board to complete all that was needed by each and every one of their individual gifts and talents. Community is a lot like that. We are better with each other. And when we miss each other, we miss out. But community is hard. It really, really is. And I want you to know you're not the only one that's experienced it. The very first disciples also experienced it. They bickered with one another, and God and Jesus continued to call them together because he knew that what they were going to be able to achieve together was more and better than anything they could have done alone, even if at times they thought it might have been easier. And so we look at the story in which Jesus has just finished a teaching, and he has brought the crowds around him, and people are seeing his wondrous acts. And then he gives them a teaching, and suddenly all but a few walk away. That is a teaching that is hard to swallow. It's a teaching that's too hard to implement. It's a teaching that requires us to give up of ourselves because there is something greater that we can push for, serve for, work for together. And so when we think of ourselves as a community of church here, we realize we're asking you to do that. We're asking you, and as in your vows, to give your time, your talents, your tithes. We're asking to give your prayers and your witness. We're asking for you to give yourself because we are all better for it. No matter where you are, no matter if you're new to the church or have been away from the church for a long time, we want to invite you to come back because we are better with you. But we also want to recognize that we need you. We need you because you have individual gifts that we can't fill our mission without. And so I want you to know that as community gets hard, community is also necessary for God, for us, and for all of this world to hear the good news. So let us come together as community in the difficulty and in spite of the difficulty, because we are a community of faith, hope, and love, serving as the hands of Christ.